When I first started college, cooking was part of my personality. I was a complete culinary novice, but I was hungry to learn and create a sense of community in a completely unknown place. So I started a weekly supper club and began posting the results on YouTube. My skills leveled up, and before long, I was the dinner guy, the sort of food authority of the group. But then, life got busy. My classes ramped up, I got more involved with various student orgs, and I kind of felt like I'd already achieved that sense of community. The weekly suppers became too time-consuming and costly, so they became monthly, and then eventually they stopped altogether. Pressed for time, I started meal prepping. My roommate jokingly calls it Ethan slop, which loosely translates to rice, veggie, meat, repeat. Not bad meals, just nothing special. I was no longer the food authority. Worse yet, somewhere along the way, cooking had become less of a hobby and more of a chore. But I want to change that. So for the next few weeks, I'll be attempting 3 new dishes at 3 varying levels of difficulty, along the way rating them on taste, price, I am still a college student after all, and effort, with the end goal to reclaim my skills and, more importantly, my love for cooking. Okay, enough talking. Let's make some food. Meal number 1, Cashew Curry Chicken by Chuck Cruz, which is difficult because I couldn't find all the ingredients. Trust me, I even went to an Asian market. No luck. But I think I found reasonable substitutes. Anyway, start by preheating the oven to 350, then bring out the cutting board to start prepping the aromatics. We've got finger chilies, ginger, garlic, shallots, and for the first time in my culinary career, lemongrass. Now for the chicken. Place a pan over medium heat with oil and lay in the chicken thighs skin side down. Once the skin is a light golden brown, remove the chicken and painstakingly remove the skin. Come on. Worth celebrating for sure. Slide the skins into the oven to finish getting crispy. While the skins are getting happy, prep and begin cooking the rice. Now back to the aromatics. Add them to the same pan along with the raw cashews, stirring occasionally. Add in the spices and dried chilies, stir again. Once they're fragrant, pour in the chicken stock and bring to a simmer. At this point, the chicken skins should be ready, so pull them out, admire, and then set them aside. Once the chilies are softened, transfer the sauce to a blender and process until smooth. Back in the same pan, add in a can of coconut milk and reduce by half over medium-high heat. Pour in the blended sauce, bring to boil, add back chicken, then lower the heat, adding fish sauce and sugar. While that gets happy, it's time to fry up the garnish. We're using shallots and what were supposed to be lime leaves, but are now mint leaves because, yep, couldn't find the ingredients. Mix the fried shallots and mint with the crushed up chicken skin. The sauce is now very happy, so time to plate. And feast. Boom. Oh, I don't know if I was just really hungry or if it was that good, but damn. So taste definitely gets a 5 out of 5. Now price was actually pretty good too. I think all in it cost maybe $33, and that includes specialty items that I never use, and realistically I didn't need that much of what I bought, but I don't think 33 is that bad. It feeds about 3 servings, so about $11 a meal, which is definitely more than my average college cooking meal, but compared to a restaurant, it's still really good. I think if I were to get this meal out, it'd be at least like 18, 20, 25 bucks. So I'm not mad at $11 a portion, and I really enjoyed the process too. So price, I'm gonna give it a 4. And then final category, effort. I'm not gonna lie, given that this is supposed to be the easiest dish that I'm making, I'm just a little bit worried because technically there wasn't anything that was too crazy. The frying was a little bit out of my comfort zone just because it's hard to get the shallots and the mint leaves and all that kind of stuff at the perfect crispiness without burning them. I think I probably left them in there for a little bit too long, but for the most part, technically, pretty simple dish, but boy was it time consuming. Just all the chopping, all the waiting. I didn't realize that I had to simmer and cook the chicken in the sauce for, I think I had it in there for 45 minutes. So all in, this meal took almost 2 hours to cook. And that's just not viable on a typical day, especially when it only serves 3 meals. I think if it were to serve maybe like 4, 5, 6, then I can justify it because I can spread it out and truly meal prep for my week. But 3 meals, 2 hours, I don't know. So effort, wasn't that bad. I'll give it a 3.5 stars. How about that? Anyway, overall, first meal, definitely success. But let's see what else I can do. Meal number 2, red wine adobo pot roast, also by Chuck Cruz, which is difficult because I'm in a whole new kitchen. It's actually spring break right now, so we're at a cabin in the mountains in North Carolina for the week. I have a recipe for a pot roast that I've been wanting to try for a while. It's actually also by Chucky Cruz. And I figure we're here, I got a whole group of my friends. It's really cold outside, so we're kind of just hunkered in today. I figure what better day for a pot roast. So yeah, we're gonna try out this new kitchen and see how it goes. This place is actually really well stocked too. You never know with an Airbnb. When I bought the ingredients, we were still driving up to the place, so I really didn't even know what to expect. I was kind of bracing for the worst, if I'm gonna be honest, but no, they have really nice kitchen utensils, all sorts of pots and pans. They even had a chip clip, which I thought was hilarious. So yeah, it's really well appointed, so this might be a little bit less of a challenge than I thought, but either way, I'm gonna try out the new kitchen and get cooking. Start by preheating the oven to 325, seasoning the chuck roast, and chopping up the garlic and onions. Next, bring out a Dutch oven you've driven all the way from Central Florida to Nashville to North Carolina. That is not a joke. Well, I guess it kind of is. Over medium heat, add in oil and the garlic. Once it's a light golden brown, remove the fried garlic, season with salt, and set aside. In the same pot with the garlic-infused oil, lay in the chuck roast, searing each side till there's a nice crust. Set aside. Add in the onions, bay leaves, and pepper. Once softened, pour in the red wine and reduce by half. Add in soy sauce, vinegar, and chicken stock. Return the chuck roast to the pot and bring to a boil. Cover with lid and transfer to oven for the final 2.5 to 3 hours to get extra happy. The meat should be fork tender when ready. Serve with rice, roasted carrots, and garnish with the fried garlic, green onions, and homemade pickled ginger and chilies. And that's it.
Can you do it in a more sexy way? That's disgusting. Chris, you can't do that. You need a warning. You need a graphic warning, yeah.
Get the money shot, Paul.
All right, I'm actually back from spring break now. It was super busy. I didn't really have time for a post-meal analysis, and then I got back here and life got in the way, so it's actually been a few weeks. But no matter, let's rate the meal. Taste, really good. I've actually made the dish already a second time since spring break, in between the time that I recorded the last clip and this one, so I think that's kind of a testament to how much I enjoyed it. I will say the second time that I made it, I didn't like it quite as much. I'm not sure. When I made it the first time, I did a double batch over spring break because I had to feed the whole crew. And then this time I did a single batch. And I actually think having the extra like braising liquid from the double batch made it a lot juicier and a lot better, even if the meat was also doubled. So something interesting to note. I'm going to give this one 4.5 stars on taste. Now, price. I was complaining something fierce when I got the grocery bill on spring break. It was something like, I don't know, $250. That wasn't just the meal. I had like other stuff that I bought for the week too. The meal itself was probably around $120. That being said, I bought food for a group of 6, 7 of us. So it wasn't that bad. That being said too, it said it was supposed to serve like 4 to 5 people for a single serving. So I doubled the servings. It feeds a lot. Like those are 4 really big people. I had leftovers for the entire week. So I really can't complain on price. I mean, is it more expensive? Yes, it's a lot of meat. But when you kind of spread it out, it makes a lot. It's really hearty. Not a big deal. I'm going to give price a 4 out of 5 stars. Finally, effort. I May have made a little bit of a mistake here, a little misjudgment. I had this as the second level of my kind of culinary challenge, meaning it was supposed to be harder than the first dish. It definitely wasn't. Honestly, this dish is pretty simple. The main thing is just the time commitment. It is all in probably at least 4 hours of time, which, to be fair, you're not going to be able to do that on a typical weeknight. So I'll factor that in. But other than that, it wasn't bad. I'd say it's a really great dish to do for guests just because you get to, like, the prep time isn't that bad. So you get to actually spend time with the people and it feels like a special dish when in reality, it is pretty simple. So there were some things I didn't show, like I didn't show the pickling or like some of the other like sides and different stuff that I did for the dish. So it was a little bit more complicated than what you saw in video, but for the most part, yeah, it's that simple. Effort, I'm gonna give it 5 stars, which means level 2 is complete and the only thing left is the biggest, the baddest meal of them all, level 3. I'll be honest, it took me a while to decide on my third dish, the final challenge, but then I got to thinking, what's the ultimate culinary accomplishment? The greatest honor a chef can receive? A Michelin star. And this Tagliatelle al ragu recipe from Massimo Bottura has not one, but 3 of them. I'm gonna be here all day. Start by pulling out the cutting board and chopping up the vegetables for the stewing liquid. Add them to a large stock pot, along with a special ingredient. Beef tongue. First time I'm cooking with this thing. Quite a sight. But here goes. Add in white wine, black peppercorns, a bay leaf, and enough water to cover the tongue. While that's simmering for an hour, let's make the homemade tagliatelle. Add in flour, eggs, and a touch of olive oil to a bowl. Mix until it forms a dough. Knead on a lightly floured surface, divide into 4 pieces, then roll into a flat rectangle. Yeah, I used a can of cooking spray. And no, I don't own a rolling pin. Cut the dough into strips and store them in the fridge for later. Back to the cutting board. Dice carrots, celery, and onion and set aside. At this point, the beef tongue should be ready to remove from the stewing liquid. Let cool, then remove skin with a knife. Cut into 1-inch cubes. In a skillet over high heat, cook the Italian sausage. In a fresh stock pot, add in a generous amount of olive oil and the diced veggies in stages. Back in the skillet, sear the beef tongue, oxtail, and short ribs. Deglaze the pan with white wine and add the meat along with the juices to the stock pot. Add in tomato paste, enough chicken stock to cover the meat, and a bundle of herbs. Loosely cover with lid, simmering for 2 hours, and take a much needed break. Once tender, remove the meat and rest in fridge. Now that the meat's cool, cut it up into 1/4-inch cubes. Bring out a blender, pour in sauce, and blend until smooth. Return the blended sauce and meat cubes into the pot to get extra happy. I let mine simmer for an extra hour because I thought the meat needed more time. Almost there. Bring a pot of water to a boil, salt, and add in the homemade pasta. Once al dente, drain pasta and mix in the meat sauce. We did it. Time to dig in. That was so good. I was really gearing myself up to be sort of disappointed. It doesn't look like much, like visually from a dish, but that was so good. Honestly, the homemade pasta was kind of the star. Was it perfect? No, but I need to do that more often. Still, the question is the taste good enough to justify 6 hours of my life? I don't know. It's also worth noting there were a lot of executional errors on my end, so I can't totally judge the dish. Obviously, it's won 3 Michelin stars. I'm sure in its flawless form, maybe it is worth the 5-6 hours, but with my version, maybe not so much. I don't think I let the meat cook quite long enough for the original like braise cooking with the sauce. So I ended up adding it back to the sauce at the end and then kind of boiling and simmering it for another hour. And I think that fixed it. It kind of broke down the meat, got a little bit more tender. My sauce was also, I think, a little bit too thin. Maybe that was a function of me like not doing the right amount of time of the meat in the sauce, or maybe it was a function of I just used too much liquid, too much stock to cover my meat. I'm not really sure. Either way, it tasted amazing. The noodles, a little too thick. My stupid ghetto little rolling pin didn't quite do the trick, but they were really tasty too. So all in all, execution, not 100% there. Taste, really good, but is it worth the time? I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 stars. Speaking of worth the time, effort. This was really my event for the day. I woke up at 7 a.m. for this, went to the grocery store, started cooking I think at 8:30, finished my first stage when I put things in the fridge at 12:30, took a little bit break for the afternoon, came back at 4:30, and it is just now 7 o'clock, and I'm finally eating. So could I have done it a little bit more efficiently? I'm sure if I knew the recipe like the back of my hand, but even if you're a pro, this thing takes ages. Now from like a technical component, it wasn't that bad necessarily. There wasn't really anything part of the process where I felt scared or like that I didn't have the proper culinary skills. There are definitely parts where I didn't have the right like utensils, but I made it through. I don't think it was impossible by any means. I'm going to give for effort, I'm going to give it 2 out of 5 stars because I enjoyed the challenge. Then finally, price. I'm also realizing I think I did these categories backwards, but shh. It was expensive. I think it's kind of like what you expect. The meat alone, especially because like the different cuts of meat I had to get are not necessarily common cuts, was I think $55. Granted, I bought more meat than I needed just because those are the only quantities I could buy. I'm lucky that here at the college that I go to, we have actually a student-run meat processing center where they have things like beef tongue for not ridiculously expensive. So I had the access even to that. I know at a lot of supermarkets, those ingredients you can't even find. So that was fine. I mean, other things like bottle of wine. I am gluten-free, so the pasta that I made, I use gluten-free flour. That's not cheap as well. All in all, probably was like $100 dish. Not the best. I don't quite know how long it's going to last me. It did make a lot, so I think I can probably, I mean, it's going to feed me probably for a week. So once you spread it out, it's not horrible. It's a special treat meal. I'm not necessarily going to hold the price against it. I was expecting to spend a lot of money, and I did. But again, not something I'm going to make every day. Price gets a 2 out of 5 stars. And with that, the challenge comes to a close. 3 dishes at 3 varying levels of difficulty, and we conquered them all. While not all the dishes may have been perfect, I'm definitely proud that I was able to complete the challenge, and I'm walking away with here with a new confidence in my culinary skill. But more importantly, through all those hours of cooking, getting to feed my friends and see that gratifying end result, I've definitely regained some of that spark and passion for cooking. So, I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna get back to cooking. I am proud of, well, not all the dishes were completely flawless.